Hello and welcome to
Hello.
the Segilola Salami Show, the virtual cafe. How are you all today? Who have I got here with me?
Hello. This is Sassy Simbi.
Hello, Sassy
I'm a
Simbi.
blogger. I'm a blogger, a lifestyle blogger who's on a journey to imbibing minimalist ideals in my life.
Cool. Are you there? Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Oh,
Okay,
you
so
stopped halfway. I was okay. I don't know if I lost you.
I thought I was done introducing myself.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. So you're just a minimalist. So what's a minimalist blogger, or who's a minimalist blogger? What is a minimalist? I thought I might be speaking properly.
All right, so being a minimalist is, like trying to practice moderation in everything you do in life, in all aspects of your life. So
Hmm.
it's embracing and simpler ways of doing things. So I find that in today's world, we're bogged down with a lot of commercials, consumerism, everything fighting for your attention. So when
Hmm.
you then, decide to embrace minimalist ideals or minimalism, step back from everything fighting from your attention. You want to take it slow, you want to cut back, you want to declutter, you want to do only what's necessary for your existence, the most basic things, the most important.
Hmm. Okay, so I mean, I guess that's like, I mean, I've heard about this, several times, where a lot of people are trying to, where they say less is more. And so some people, they say they only need like 5 different clothes, or rather than having like wardrobes and wardrobes, filled with so many clothes that they never even get around to wearing. So is that kind of like what you blog about?
Well, I'm a new blogger, but yes, that's about the idea, especially because, in Nigeria, what is minimalist for one person be a little different from the next person because things that would seem important to each person, but then you that know what you don't need, what you think is overwhelming, what you need to cut out. So my reality would be different from that of someone else's, especially someone who's so my reality is that I'll take clothes for example. So in the 21st century, where everyone seems to be able to wear casual clothes or we dress the same
Mm,
world over. But being African and being Nigerian, we then have our own peculiar and the fabrics with which we make those clothes.
mm,
So it's a part of our heritage, and so no matter how millennial we've become, no matter how much we've evolved, we never let go. It's part of us. But then you find that as a young lady, to strain on your finances when you have work clothes, formal workwear, and then you have casuals.
yeah.
Then you have clothes, like evening clothes or um, that you can wear to a party, and then you still have to rake out the funds to then fund the African wear. So in the traditional African wear, we then have the fabric that is referred to as Ankara. Ankara is a wax print, so that most of the time is used to make more laid back casual clothes. And then you have the more expensive fabrics, laces that are used to make clothes that you can wear to a more formal gathering like a wedding or, festivities. So then, so as a young lady who's working and, I don't have all that money, and then all of this is fighting for my attention. So I had to step back and say to myself, okay, you know what? What's important to you? Buy on. What's the most important thing? So the whole idea is I want to be able to allocate my resources to the most important things. And then um, I'm trying to, those things that weigh me down. So I'll do the basics, the most important, and keep it simple.
Oh, cool, cool. So Sassy Simbi. Oh my good lord! You know what? We forgot. We forgot. I've not even offered you a drink. The little human, she's at nursery now, so I've not really got much choice. How does a hot chocolate sound to you?
Um, well, that sounds nice. Over here, the weather looks a bit cloudy, so we're expecting rains anytime soon. So a cup of hot chocolate will be nice.
And how about plum pancake? Because I've got some plum pancake left. How does that sound to you?
I'd rather have a cake if you have cake.
Sorry. I shouldn't laugh. But normally the human,
Okay, well, that's fine.
the little human, she's usually here to do all the legwork, right? But then she's decided that she wants to go to nursery and play with other little humans herself. So yeah, you just have to deal with pancake. Sorry. When I do have some cake, I'll offer you cake. And today the virtual
Oh,
cafe only has hot chocolate and plum pancake, and that's what you're going to have.
all right. So we'll take what's available then. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. This is how you're
So
supposed to
so
say I
my
am great. Thank you.
sorry.
This is how you're supposed to say I am grateful for the food and the
Oh
nourishment,
yeah,
even virtual.
I'm grateful for the offer. So we then don't look like we're taking, our hostess's offer, for granted. So you've offered what you have, and then look at me asking for something else.
All in a twist, right? Normally, I would have a nice selection that you can take from, but like I said, the little humans at nursery, and so no one to do the running around for me. Yeah,
Very nice. That's her pursuing her dreams. She's going after her goals. So that's good.
she's two. Her goal is to just play with other little human beings. She's tired of looking at my face.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So Sassy Simbi, that's a
Yeah.
very. Tell me about the name.
Oh, Sassy Simbi is an oxymoron, in the sense that you have two contradictory words side by side. So I'll give you a little background into the name Simbi. So
Okay.
growing up in Nigeria, sometime in the 80s, I am not too sure how long ago this book had been in circulation, but sometime in the 80s, I I found that this was a book, that was used in studying English in primary schools. So
Mm,
have a storyline that featured in most of the book with
I don't
a
get you. Sorry.
story about. I'm sorry.
I didn't get you. Can you just say that again, please?
All right. So growing up in Nigeria, there was a book used in schools to teach English.
Hmm. Okay.
And most of the kids who grew up about that time knew about it. So
Mm,
I think we referred to it as Simbi and Ali
yeah.
because those were the main characters in the book. But the book actually has a title. It's the Macmillan Primary English Course
All right.
4. So in the book, the main characters were, Ali, a boy, and Simbi, a girl. So the illustration for Simbi is done, in a way that an average young girl at the time could relate with her. So the illustrator depicts Simbi, as a young girl in an African threaded hairdo. So it's a basic style, that wasn't because they're more styles, but that was just a basic style that was suitable for a young girl. And then Simbi was portrayed to be very hardworking. She always contributed to doing chores around the house. She was either sweeping or helping to fetch water after school. So that's the kind of idea you get from reading the book. And so as we grew a bit older, you would then find that people use the name or the word Simbi, you know, either in sometimes in a derisive way or in a jocular manner, so such that they try to depict simplicity when they're poking fun at someone's way of life or personality. So, but the whole
Yeah.
idea you get from it is, a very simple person. So for me, that's what the name Simbi has always simplicity, down to earth. And then so there is, me thinking of Simbi all grown up, so no one knows what happened to her after those years. It seems like we outgrew the story. And so here I am, I'm thinking, okay, what would Simbi be like, all grown up? So now this is me. So I'm confident, young lady who's confident, and out to explore and dominate her world. So in as much as I'm down to earth and simplistic, rather simplistic, but with a simplistic out view or outlook on life, then I'll then say, okay, so Sassy Simbi, so like but then you're you're down to earth. So that's how the name came about.
Oh, right. It's quite an interesting story, because you've read this book, in your in your early years, and and then sort of, I don't know how many years down the line, I don't know, 20 years down the line,
Oh my goodness.
it's inspired
It's
you.
more than 30 years now, or
Yes,
close to 30.
a blog used a name. And I'm sure, the author, the writer of the book, would not have thought that, his book would have inspired anyone, to the extent with which it's inspired you. So apart from the minimalist lifestyle or the simplistic lifestyle that they depicted Simbi in the book, what else about her
Mm.
stood out to you?
Um, yeah, so there's not much I can remember, except for, the way I've tried to explain it, because that's the picture I have in my head. That's the picture you get. That's what you come away with when you read the story. So she's depicted as hardworking, very helpful around the home, which you don't find a lot of kids that age doing, because kids at that age just want to play. But this is a young girl who's very, very, very domesticated. She's helpful, she's down to earth, she's helping to fetch water, because at the time, not a lot of families had pipe-borne water in their own houses. So I think people had to go to, a little distance where they get water from, common source or communal source, and then take it back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was that girl next door, even though that was my reality. But that's what I get from that story. I think that's what the authors, there were three of them, so that's
Yeah.
what they were trying to portray.
Right. Okay. And I guess that's probably why she stuck with you, because you could relate to her.
Yes, so in the sense that that lifestyle, the simplistic lifestyle, is what was being portrayed. Yes, so there were three authors: Taiwo, L. Longe, and W. Ijoma, all Nigerian authors.
Okay. Oh, cool. So now, as an old well, let me just think about as a I'm trying to as as no longer a child but a grown woman now, because I was gonna say as an old woman, but then that just didn't sound right, right? So as an adult now, what books would you say have inspired you as much as or as close to the way Simbi inspired you? What other books can you relate with right now?
Right now, um, oh well, okay. So in in the course of my journey, a bit of religion has come to play in molding me. That I've become. So at some point along the line, Bible, reading the Bible and trying to live according to my faith, that also helped, to mold to mold me and
Hmm.
my ideals. So that's one book. Then I've read books written by Michelle McKinney Hammond.
Okay.
She's partly American and partly Ghanaian, but so she shuttles between the US and Ghana, where
Okay.
she's still an author, she's a speaker, and I think sometimes, yeah, motivational speaker. So that's what she does. But a lot of her books have inspired me on my journey to womanhood because she talks about, you know, preparing yourself as a woman,
Yeah.
not just being hung up on finding a life partner,
Yeah.
but then, finding meaning and purpose in the life that you live first before
Yes.
you then hitch up or hook up with someone else, so that you then, you're bringing value. So one of the things you will do in finding your purpose is also getting your finances right.
Yeah.
And just finding a balance, generally discovering who you are, your purpose, living purposefully, so that then brings balance and purpose into the whole works.
Okay. Cool. See now, for instance, I was assuming, and just for no reason, just because I'm just like that. Who I would have thought you would say, mention that, a Nigerian author, inspired, because I do like a lot of Nigerian authors, myself, and I find that, I'm almost always geared to mentioning Nigerian authors first because, as someone, who's also Nigerian, I find that they shaped my views, of the world. Like one of, I
There
think
are a
my
few
first,
that I'm sorry to cut in. There are a few Nigerian authors that have also molded me, but not exactly in the terms that I described. So
okay,
there were a few female, Nigerian authors, one of the earliest. So there were Buchi Emecheta, um,
okay,
Flora Nwapa, who wrote a book, that dwelt on the events of the war, the civil war in Nigeria. Um,
oh,
that's Flora Nwapa. And then more recently, there's Chimamanda Adichie. She has,
yeah,
strong feminist views, and she's well known. She's given a number of talks, across the world, and um, even on TED. She's been a TED speaker several
yeah,
times over. So those are the few that come to mind now. I'm sure there are others, but they may not be as well published, as these this
okay.
few that I've mentioned.
Okay, cool. I'm just trying to think now. There's so many books that I liked. I think my first one that I always remember that has a soft spot in my heart as a young teenager or approaching teenage years was what was it called now? Time Changes Yesterday. I think it was, I don't know if I pronounced it
Time
correct.
Changes
Yankee
Yesterday.
Coin. Is it how you pronounce it? I'm caught. This was one because she's from South Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, or wherever it is. Like it's Yankee Coin, yet Nengi Coin. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name, but I really
Yes, Nengi. Yeah, that's
I thought
true.
it was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really
yeah.
amazing book. It was about this girl, her and her elder sister with their dad. And their dad was a widower, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was seeing this woman, and the older sister didn't really want that. But yeah, kind of like, and so it was, what was her name? Was it Eniola? And it was this love story. She was a hopeless romantic, right? I mean, what teenager is in a hopeless romantic? And,
Mm.
I totally enjoyed that, and it was one of the first books that I really enjoyed reading. That I discovered. Sort of get going into secondary school.
Nice. I remember studying this book at secondary school, but the details I don't remember much of it anymore. Yes, I remember that I think one of the characters was Tokumbo, who was then
Yeah,
referred to as Bobo Tokumbobo,
yeah.
and all that, but that's about it.
Yeah,
I
no, it was
remember. Yeah.
Time Changes Yesterday by Yogi Coin. And I think the name itself was very apt that, no matter what happens yesterday, it was only going to pass, it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
like, so I think that's one of the reasons why, that book, stuck with me. And then I'm trying to see what other book I found inspiring when I was younger. There was also Ilichi Amadi's The Concubine. That was a fantastic read. But I think the one that I
Yeah.
really liked after Time Changes Yesterday was Olarotimi, The
Mhm.
Gods Are Not to Blame. And if I am not mistaken, I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of Olarotimi. It was that, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I heard or I read somewhere that The Gods Are Not to Blame was based on Shakespeare, one of Shakespeare books. I can't remember.
Oh, oh no, not Shakespeare. All right, so The Gods Are Not to Blame is an adaptation of Oedipus Rex.
Yes, 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 that's it. In the picture, that's it.
Yeah. So Oedipus Rex um is was written by Sophocles, and that was like way back in civilization.
Way
But I
back in
guess the
civilization.
story. Sorry.
You said way back in civilization. I would have thought people would say way back was not civilized. They didn't even have
Yeah,
water.
because we're talking about BC, and so I didn't know how else to explain it. I think it's like say 400 BC or thereabouts. So that's a long time ago. That's why I said way back in civilization. So it was written by Sophocles.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so Oedipus was a king. So
yeah,
just like you have the king in Olarotumi's book. So it's just an adaptation, and then Olarotumi was able to adapt the story to the Nigerian reality.
yeah.
But it was a beautiful adaptation at that.
Oh, it
You know.
was fantastic. It was the best, right? And it was like, you will
Yeah.
kill your father and marry your mother.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my good Lord. Like, seriously, I can just imagine being in a theater and watching it because I've gone to the theater once, well, not once. And, Olara to me was
Mm.
possibly, so it was, what was it called? Death and the King's Horseman. So that was the first Olara to me play that I saw, unless I'm being a complete idiot now, that was Wole Soyinka, but I think it was Olaru to me. But yes, I saw Death and the King's Horseman in the theater, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But I'm a big fan of African theater, and it's quite sad I don't get to see a lot of them in London. But please do continue.
Oh well. Oh, so yeah. So we've just gone over the different Nigerian authors that inspired us from our teenage years, and so well then
You are going
I
to
think
explain
that's
the story
about
of
it
King
though.
Rex. You're going to tell us the story and how Olarotimi adapted it.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess there's not much to be told about that because it's the exact story, but then he adapted it to the Nigerian context, and it was set in a Yoruba town,
Yeah.
using Yoruba names and culture to
Yeah.
depict the story. Now, along the lines, you will then find him in this story with Yoruba songs from Yoruba folklore.
Yeah.
Um, that was I think one of my first few introduction to of play, and because of the folklore attached to it, it made it interesting. Also,
Yeah.
being able to learn songs in Yoruba at the time, it made it all the more interesting. Unfortunately, we never got to do our own rendition of the play. So I bet it would have been all the more interesting. We just studied it, and read it, but we never put the words into action.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. So I'm just trying to summarize. If anyone's listening and they're thinking, oh, they've never really read any Nigerian sort of like back in the day, back in
Yes.
civilization. Good. So let me see. We talked about what Olarotimi, the gods are not to play, Yengi coin, time changes yesterday, Elechi Amadi, the concubine. Tell me two more that you like.
Oh, I'm trying to remember titles. Judge.
Sorry.
I don't remember the author.
What's the name?
The Incorruptible Judge. The
Okay.
Incorruptible Judge.
Okay, no, I don't know that one.
You never read it?
The name sounds
Oh,
vaguely
okay.
familiar, but I can't remember. It's not one
Yeah.
of the ones that stuck in my mind.
Okay. It was a pretty popular one. But then, do you remember Things Fall Apart?
Yeah, wasn't that also what was his name now? Yeah, I do remember things fall apart, and I'm just trying to think. It was that Igbo man. What is it? Is it Chino Achebe?
Chinua Achebe. Yes.
Yes, I got it.
Chinua
Yes, Chino
Achebe.
Achebe fall apart. Yeah, that was a really good one as well.
Very good one, and it was also adapted, for film.
Yes.
So increased its popularity in Nigeria about the time we were growing up.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the ones that sort of started the Nollywood film industry. I think it was sort of around that time the Nigerian movie industry sort of
Yeah.
started kicking up.
Um, After that, so then things, evolved from there. But that
Yeah.
was, like that was a very good outing for Nollywood. It was a way for us to showcase culture,
Yeah.
and tell our own story
The way we want.
the way
Yes.
we want it.
Yeah, cool. So one more book that's by a Nigerian author. I don't want any of the modern ones. So a lot of people know Chimamanda. So please don't talk about Chimamanda. She's really popular, and I've got absolutely nothing against her. It's just she's really, really popular, and most people know her. Even non-Nigerians know her. So I'm trying to see the ones that are quote unquote not as popular. Even though I know that a lot of people would know what Wale Soyinka. And I know the boy, he's like from back in the day. So just tell me one of the old ones
Yeah.
you want, not one of the new ones.
Did you ever read Chike and the River?
Chicky and the River. I can't remember if I've done so or not. Like I said, the ones that I called to you, those are the ones that really stuck to me and they stayed in my heart.
What
And
about
I've got a really good
what about
relationship.
the Arrow of God?
No, I possibly might have, but it doesn't ring a bell.
There Was a Country? Oh, I think that's a new one. No, no, no. That's a memoir, by Chinua Achebe. Well, most of these titles that I've mentioned are by Chinua Achebe.
Okay.
Arrow of God,
So what?
No Longer at Ease,
Okay, so no longer at ease. Which are the ones? So what were the ones you mentioned before?
Arrow of God,
Arrow
Arrow
of
of
God.
God,
Okay,
Chinua
I might have
Achebe.
to go and check out one of these ones if I can make the
And
time.
Hymns of the Savannah.
Wow, you've read a lot of books.
As a child, I was a voracious reader. Now, it's funny because now I can't remember all of the storylines. I'll probably need to sit and go through it, and then I'll pick up, but I need like a boost to my memory. I remember a title by Sariwa, Sugar Boy.
Okay.
So so I just read, random, just here and there, but I read voraciously.
All right. You know what? It's been quite amazing. Well, I've absolutely enjoyed having you, come chat with me about the books that have inspired you. I would say you're possibly the first blogger, like blogger, as opposed to blogger author, that I've had, and it's been a different experience, sort of having you here. Okay, so one last question though, because I'm sure you need to go, and I've got to go and pick up the little human as well, because I need to get her to do some work. Now, I said in your minimalist lifestyle, right, and in your new blog, are you going to be reviewing
Yeah.
books as well, or will you just be doing more on a lifestyle type of thing?
Can you take that again? You said, would I be?
As a new blogger, and I know your focus is on minimalist living,
Yeah.
but how likely are you to read review books on your blog?
Um. Well, I'll say never, because I, the whole idea, even though it's a lifestyle blog, I don't want to restrict myself.
Yeah,
We're going to go, if I find something interesting, you know, so it's me sharing my journey through life. And
yeah,
if reading a book, that inspires me, or a book, which storyline resonates with me, I think will be of benefit to my readers and followers, I would share it, and definitely I would review that book, because that's the whole thing about lifestyle. If something has impacted your life for good, you then want to share with other people. So I wouldn't want to restrict myself going forward.
yeah,
So things would just evolve, and I want it to take a natural turn. However it pans out, that's good. That being said, it's not like we're just going to go off and not have any focus.
yeah,
So but then also going to be all embracing. It's
yeah.
not restrictive.
Okay, fabulous. Because why I was asking is I was going to say, like, if you were going to, because you said, you're a voracious reader. So I was kind of trying to see,
Yeah.
what sort of things you would be looking out for if you were going to look for another book. Like, what sort of things would trigger you or inspire you to read your next book? That's what I was going to ask.
Oh, I've always been one person to look out for crime fiction,
Okay.
but then you get to a point in your life where you step out of um, imaginary world for a bit.
Yeah.
So recently, I found myself reading more self-help books, self-development books. So things that help you stay focused, how to manage money better, how to manage your time better, how to be a better person, like Stephen Covey's the seven rules of effective people. And so books like that, those are the kind of books I look out for. Improve improvement.
Right, your line is not very clear anymore. Can you hear me?
Really?
Oh, okay, you're back now. For a second, the line went a bit. Okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Any final words before I kick you out of my cafe? I'm hungry
Final words. I'd like to say thank you very much for having me on your podcast. It's been as interesting for me as it has been for you. I do look forward to doing this again, sometime in the future.
now.
Thank you.
Yay! Well, I'm glad you had fun, sort of coming on the show, and you found it enjoyable because I kind of like that, and you want to come back as well. You see, it always brings a smile on my face when people want to come back. It means they like chatting with me because I like chatting with people too. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you, or, stay in contact with you if they want to do
Okay.
so?
Okay.
Hello, I'm here. I said, how can people get in touch with you if they want to do so?
Hello.
Yeah, can you not hear me, or is the
Oh, I can hear
computer here?
you now. For a bit, you just went off,
I
and
said,
it's
how
just
can
coming
people with you or keep in touch with you if they want to do so? Where are you online? Where is your home online?
at Sassy Simbi. And then on Facebook, please like the page, Sassy Simbi. I have a YouTube channel, Sassy Simbi. So everything's slow and nice, but there's going to be a whole lot more content, even though we're just starting out. So there's a lot to share, a lot of information, and from there.
Oh, fabulous. Well, it's an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I hope to catch you again sometime soon. And to everyone else here, please go check out Sassy Simbi's page. And from me, Segilola Salami, I will catch you guys again later. I haven't done that closing speech in a while. Anyways, but it's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll catch you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.